welcome to another Sanctuary Sunday. Sanctuary! Yes, the day where I try to cover something other than war games, which I cover mostly throughout the week. Today, on Sanctuary Sunday, is also Coffee with Kilroy, or what I sometimes call beverage in a book. And my beverage, well, you know that. It's coffee. And my book, well, I decided to go with something a little bit different because I'm doing a themed Sanctuary Sunday. This is a top secret Sanctuary Sunday where I'm going to be talking about spies and spy games. Plan to talk about spy role-playing games and spy board games. And I thought I'd talk about a spy book. Now, I'm not going to go into nonfiction territory. I've got a few books on that. I also have some more technical and advanced books on spycraft that came from my past. I'll leave it at that. But I thought I'd go with a classic and something that a lot of us, well, maybe a lot of us, are familiar with. I first became familiar with Spy versus Spy, looking at Mad Magazine. I was never a subscriber, but I would pick them up, look at them at the newsstand. Sometimes they were on the top shelf and you couldn't get to them. But you always had the fold. Remember the fold in the back to see what the image turns out to be. But anyway, a regular feature in Mad Magazine was Spy versus Spy. And so much so that, there was actually I remember playing a video game with it. And when they came out with the Mad TV series, there was I don't know if they had it on every season, but they had a Spy versus Spy snippet in there. So this is something that's been around for a long time, and they were, nice, simple, interesting cartoons that, kind of had these very convoluted ways of how each of these spies were trying to steal the secrets of the other or kill the other. And it was, always not quite the way they wanted it to work out. So I always found this to be a very enjoyable series. Definitely didn't outstay their welcome. And this book right here is the complete case book. So I probably won't be able to do much of a page through because it's the book itself. You need to probably go try to pick this up. And it's the illustrator was Antonio Prohias, and I probably mispronounced his name there, so I apologize for that. But you get a little bit of a view here of some of the humor that's in here. There's the good old Mad Magazine guy. The Cold War may be over, but the lukewarm war rages on. So let me move this out of the way, because I'll do a little bit of a page turn here, so you get a little bit of a feel of what this book is about. For decades, Spy versus Spy has appeared in Mad Magazine, the diabolical duel of double cross and deceit, one dressed in black and the other in white, have continued to one-up the other till death do they part. Now, all the original exploits are collected for the first time in Spy vs. Spy, the complete casebook. This 40th anniversary tribute to the spies and their creator, Antonio Prohas, chronicles their history, including biographical and historical essays by Sergio Aragonés, Duck Ewing, Grant Geisman, Peter Cooper, Nick Meglin, Marta Rosa Pizarro, Fabiolo Santiago, and Art Spiegelman. That is a group of names there, especially for me. Also featured are rare interviews with Spy vs. Spy creator, all 241 of Prohas's Spy vs. Spy strips, as well as every non-spy article he created for Mad. Family photos, rare political and editorial cartoons from Cuba, including Prohas's pre-spy Sinister Man cartoons, unpublished and never-before-seen preliminary sketches and artist roughs, a visual catalog of spy collectibles, and more. So, about the author, an award-winning and influential political cartoonist in Cuba, Antonio Prohas fled Havana when Castro seized control of the country's free press. Ross quickly immigrated to America, where he soon became one of Mad's usual gang of idiots. Although Antonio Projas died in 1998, his Spy vs. Spy comic strip continues to be one of the magazine's best-loved features, as well as a hallmark of American pop culture. And I tend to agree with that. So let's do a little bit of a look through here. And in the comments down below, let me know what you think about. Were you a Spy vs. Spy fan? Did you like it? Did you not like it? It's all fair game. Just be civil. Did you not know about it? So maybe is this an introduction to it? Because some of this stuff was really pretty cool here. So they're gonna have a lot of illustrations, of course, in here. Nice introduction there. And it's gonna, I think, talk a little bit about the history and the development of this. These might be some of his earlier cartoonists. So you got some family here, background. Here's some of that earlier Sinestro. And you can tell there's a lot. I mean, this looks very, you can tell this is the DNA for Spy vs. Spy, of course. So you get some, Spy vs. Spy. They're basically, they come in panels here. So you're going to read it across, see what's happening. And, of course, here's a simple one here. Let's show that one there. Meet each other, sit down for some tea. Very nice. Of course, they don't trust each other. Pour the tea on the floor. Their cats drink it. And, yeah, they both die. So there you go. That is, typical Spy vs. Spy. That might be the first one, right? That might be the very first. I have to look and see if there's a chronology here. And they have this Morse code on there for the backdrop. But, I mean, this whole book is just going to be the complete collection of those. So, I mean, I remember when I first got this, I was kind of paging through it. And, I mean, you just get lost in this because there's just one thing after another. And some of them I kind of remembered, and not that these are, so impressionable that, I'll always remember that. But they're very similar. There's a lot of repetition in some of the repetition, but yet not the same in how they are trying to double cross each other. And so, so I kind of remember, I kind of remember that one thing there because there's so many of these. And you're just trying to see how they're going to, fail or one-up themselves next. And the nice thing, they had this their intro is yet a cartoon in and of itself, talking, kind of giving you some thoughts about how they're doing, the guy they're doing something crazy, and then you have the actual strip. So you kind of get a two-for with some of these Spy vs. Spies, at least on the illustrations. And they didn't make them. I mean, all the spies have like this long nose thing. It almost looks like it's a plague mask, and so that was. But I remember when I started reading this, I was like, God, why? It's probably in the notes. I probably should read this. Read his notes on how he developed this. But when I was looking at that, I was like, well, that looks odd. But I also kind of like it too because it makes them a little less human because there's something horrible that's going to happen to either one or both and almost every single time. So having them be, a separate cartoon like that kind of dehumanizes them, but yet what's going on is, very human, but yet exaggerated. So I don't know if I made any sense there, but I got used to it and I kind of like it and I kind of think it fits for them. I think if I saw anything else, it wouldn't be Spy vs. Spy, right? So yeah, you can pause on some of these if you want to, and enjoy the full effect of the page. I'm not gonna do the whole thing, but I mean, this whole book is just packed full. It's the entire collection of all the various Spy vs. Spy. Then there's some notes in here in between. It looks like, and some of them. I mean, some of them are just completely outrageous. Some of them are clever. Right? you know, you're always kind of expecting. I mean, he had to like outdo himself at times because, well, you're expecting a double cross, but then sometimes there's a double cross, or sometimes there's a triple double cross, and so, uh, but you're doing it in a limited space. You have like this one has one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight panels, or frames. You don't. I mean, you're limited in his space, so to convey the ideas I think is quite clever how, and that's really the art of Spy versus Spy, is how to convey these elaborate schemes and how they could go awry and tell a story in that limited amount of space and with no dialogue. There's no dialogue. It's all silent movie type stuff, right? You're all seeing it through the action, and the action is what it tells the story. So yet another, to me, part of the genius of this is being able to do that without any exposition, right? So a lot of good stuff here. And here's some original sketches of this. This is the original rough sketch for this one here. It's kind of cool to see how that translated. And there's some notes on it as well. This is, my son the other day just pulled this off the shelf and was just like, it's great comic book material, right? I mean, and you're not having to read. It's just visual and understanding and conveying the ideas. So, and it gets pretty wonky. I mean, as at some point he had to keep outdoing himself, so it got pretty hard, I think, to do some of these. And not have it be the same old, right? Here's another rough sketch and then how it turned out. So, anyway, I would, if you're a fan of Spy versus Spy or enjoyed those Spy versus Spy back in the day, here's some additional ones here. Then, this is a must. This is something you probably need to pick up if you've never heard of Spy versus Spy, or because you're much younger than me. Then, I mean, take a look at this. This is, see if you like this. So there's some colored stuff there. And it was always black and white, all the stuff I saw. I don't know where these colored versions came about, or where they were. I'd have to read up on this a little bit more. This was in Wired magazine here. Here's Spy vs. Spy, an article about the CIA. Interesting. There's some of the Mad magazine. Of course, this was a staple in the Mad magazine world. So, I made it into board games. There was a video game. I didn't play it on the Game Boy. I think it was a computer based. Might have been DOS. Does that date me? But you had like figurines and collectibles. I should get a Mad versus Mad cup. Man, how come I don't have one? I mean, a Spy versus Spy coffee mug for my coffee with Kilroy. Why don't I do that? Some ties, T-shirts. Anyway, so there you have it. That is Spy versus Spy, the complete case book. So as I said, if you're never familiar, didn't know about this, check it out. You might find it interesting. Or go online. There's a lot of Spy versus Spy stuff online. But I think this is to me, this was a must-have, when this came out for the 40th anniversary, because it's just, I grew up with this. And these are very simple, and there is some they can be somewhat repetitive, especially in a book like this. After you get 20 pages in, you're like, oh my God. But I like it. I still like it to today. As I said, my son pulled this off the shelf the other day and was just kind of, cruising through it and, was enjoying it. I mean, you're always trying to figure out what the next one's going to be and how who's going to win, who's going to lose. Don't know if and I don't know if this is in here, but I don't know if anybody ever kept a tally, right, of win, lose, or draw between the white spy and the black spy. I don't know if it balances out completely, or because sometimes there's some ties, they both die. But anyway, that's what I have for you today on Coffee with Kilroy, which is kind of introducing a spy day. a top secret sanctuary Sunday. So even though it's top secret, it's for your eyes only and for any of your friends. So feel free to tell your friends and don't be scared by the classified nature of this sanctuary Sunday. Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. If you're just starting your day, if it's at the end of the day, hope you had a good one, and hope you have a good evening. Take care. Thanks for watching.